Good evening, Suresh. Thank you very much for joining us today in our session Smart Talks with Vivek. And we will have a conversation today on the emotional intelligence, thoughts versus feelings. And thanks to all the participants to be with us today in this session. And I'm sure we will have more learning during this session today. So,
Thanks, Vivek.
Suresh,
Thank you.
before going ahead, I would request you to introduce yourself to the participants and our listeners, and it will so that we can know you little better, other than the introduction which I am going to share with the team. So, Suresh is a HR leader and worked in various organizations throughout the globe, and he is particularly dealing the strategic HR, the learning and development space, as well as the uh, various processes, development of policies, processes in his tenure in various organizations. So, over to you, Suresh. Now,
Yeah, thanks, Vivek. Thank you. So, I think you've given a adequate introduction. Okay. So, I'm HR professional, as you mentioned. I've been working with various companies, which includes the software and service industry as well as the manufacturing industry. And during the tenure,
when you have learned something you would like to introduce as a key contributor in your life.
sorry, Vivek.
I'm saying it will be great to hear from you if there is anything you would like to share from your childhood or the college days or the early experience in the job.
Yeah, sure. See, college days, etc. We can have as we move on with the topic, we can have some discussions around that. Okay, but otherwise, yeah, I've been working with a company called Tupperware for about 14 years now, and very recently I left the company. So while working with Tupperware, I had the opportunity to lead the HR function here, and we have set up a new division in Dehradun. And that's the reason why I currently stay in Dehradun while I'm a native of Hyderabad from the south. Okay, so now I'm looking forward to help companies, find talent and develop talent, as well as develop initiatives, organizational development and behavioral sciences, using the sciences to further the organizations. So I'm looking forward for that. But otherwise, I have the experience of, rather the privilege of having worked with HR people from multiple countries and having visited those countries as a part of an international project that I was leading in Tupperware. So that gave me good insights and a lot of learning about HR, how HR functions across continents, across countries, and in the cultural backgrounds. So, so that's what is about me. Apart from that, I think without much delay, we can just jump into the topic.
Great. It was nice to know that the kind of expertise and kind of work you have done in your different tenures in different part of the world and in different organizations. Great. So now, my first question to you is directly connected with our topic of the day, that is emotional intelligence. What is
Sure.
emotional intelligence?
What is emotional intelligence? See, our brain hosts two processes. One is thinking, another is feeling. Suppose if I ask you, say, what is, say, 20 into 6? What do? You think about what could be the right answer. You try to calculate and you would give an answer, right? And let's assume you're confronted with, you're driving and suddenly there is a car that cuts into your path and you just miss an accident. Then what happens? Immediately you do not think, you feel. You have a certain kind of process that goes on in your mind which is called an emotion. The emotion could be fear, the emotion could be anger, or the emotion could be relief, saying that you just narrowly missed the accident. So these are the two processes that go on in our mind. Okay. So now, what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the ability to think about your emotions, to identify your emotions. Okay. Number one, to accurately understand what is going on in your mind as an emotion, what exactly you're feeling at that point of time. So first is to identify. Then the second stage is to be able to manage it. Just because you identify, it doesn't mean that you'll always be able to manage. So how well you are able to manage your emotions, okay, is stage 2. The next is identifying the emotions that others, the people around you, are experiencing, okay, and being able to help them manage their emotions, or rather, manage the emotions of those people who are around you after having diagnosed what is the emotion that they are undergoing. If you master all these 4 things, then you can call yourself an emotionally intelligent person. Okay, so the 4 components, like I mentioned, are: first is to identify the emotion that you are experiencing, giving it a name. Giving it a name is important because that brings clarity. Words bring clarity to our thoughts. Thoughts are in abstract form. Only when you are able to give a name, you will exactly be able to identify the emotion. And once you have given a name, the next stage is to work around the emotion, to reason it out, because emotions by themselves are not reasonable. They are just our biological and psychological responses. They don't come out of any reasoning. Okay. And the third part is understanding the emotions that the people around you are undergoing, what is going on in their mind, and how to manage it, finding ways to manage it. If these 4 are done, then that's when a person can be called emotionally intelligent. And the significance of emotional intelligence is that emotions are a form of energy. For example, when you're feeling intense emotion about something, you're very angry or you're very tense, you find very difficult to sit peacefully at one place. You keep moving around, right? So emotions cause
Right.
or consume energy from you. They either energize you or de-energize you. That is what happens with emotions. Now, as we know, energy, when it is used very well, when it is channelized and used for a proper purpose, it can be constructive. Like, you can use energy to move a vehicle, you can use energy to light a bulb, and so on and so forth. You can do it for any purposes. But when energy is not controlled, or when energy is misused or misapplied, then what happens is it leads to destruction. For example, if uncontrolled energy is released, that's what is you call an atomic bomb. Or when you get wrongly exposed to electrical energy, what happens is you experience an electrical shock. So energy has to be channelized and used properly if you want good results. Similarly, emotions, which are a form of energy, only if you are able to channelize them and use them by controlling them, you can be, the emotions can take you forward. If that is not the case, then what can happen is, you can suffer setbacks in what you are doing, and you can, destroy or cause hurt to other people if you are misusing that energy, or doing something wrong with that energy. So that is the reason emotional intelligence is very important. And that is the reason you have to hone your energies and your emotions. You know that.
That's beautifully connected with the energy part. I
Yeah,
think, yeah. And what you talked about, first we need to acknowledge the fact that yes, we are having certain emotions,
yes,
and it is not important many times that maybe you are aware about the emotions, but you are not able to channelize it in a right
canalize it.
right.
Yes.
So it
Okay.
is important.
Let me just give an example. You asked about my college days during our introduction.
Right.
One example that comes to my mind about emotional intelligence is a very day-to-day example. During my college days, when I used to return from college to home, we used to go by city bus. Okay, there used to be about 40-45 minutes journey by city bus, and Hyderabad city buses are very notorious. Hyderabad city buses are jam packed. Okay, and when you get into a bus, the bus not only takes you to your destination, you also get a free massage because the crowd is so heavy and so thick in the bus. So the only thing, the two things that you can experience in a city bus in Hyderabad are one, irritation because you're getting squeezed by so many people, and the other is you can only sweat. Okay, that is the kind of an environment in a city bus. So if you have worked for a full day and you're going home in a city bus, it can be quite an experience. So while going home, there used to be a particular bus conductor who used to crack many jokes. If we get into the bus that is, in which he is
Yes.
working, this particular conductor, who is about 40 years old at that time, he used to crack a lot of jokes. He used to put nicknames to people who are younger to him, say people like me. Okay, he used to pull the legs of people by giving them nicknames and making a lot of jokes. If two people get into a bus, he would call them Jay and Viru, so on and so forth. And he had a fantastic sense of humor. Now we used to think in this bus where nothing but irritation. Irritation is the only possibility that can happen in your mind. How is this guy doing it, and why is he doing it? What we understood when we were talking to him is, even for himself, doing his duty in such a bus throughout the day is such a punishment kind of a job, so he didn't want to endure that with irritation. So he used to use his sense of humor as a tool to overcome that irritation of his duty, okay, and make it more enjoyable. Since it is anyway unavoidable, that's his livelihood. So he used to make his duty, which is so difficult, into fun, and he used to create a lot of humor. Now, people who were traveling regularly in that route, if we find that conductor, it is you prefer to get into that particular bus. Now, what used to happen is he also, by his humor, used to understand the irritation of people who are traveling in that bus and also lighten them up. So it used to be a little bit fun, even though the squeezing and etc. all that business still used to happen in the bus. But a thing that can cause a lot of irritation, a thing that is difficult to endure, was made easier, relatively much easier and a little bit enjoyable by using his sense of humor. I think that is a very simple example of emotional intelligence in a day-to-day life. Okay, so
Yes.
that would be difference.
I can able to. I can. Yes, I can able to connect with this example, and I think that's a good way to use it in day-to-day life. That through that is your choice whether you are making your life easier or you are making your life difficult. So
Yes,
based on our choices. So now when I have to choose between thoughts and emotions, considering that considering this awareness about emotional intelligence, what should I do?
See, in our brain, thoughts and emotions are inseparable. For example, let me just give you an example. Let's assume you are in a jungle, okay, and you sensed that a tiger is approaching you. What is your immediate reaction? Our immediate reaction is fear. And as a result of fear, even before we know that we are afraid, we will find ourselves to be running. Okay? So it is fear that has given us the power and energy to run away from the danger. If we were not afraid, what would have happened? We would have fallen prey to the tiger. Okay? Now, while running away, during the process, then we start thinking, in which direction should I run? Okay? Which is the best option that I have to escape from this attack? And you try to figure out whatever is your best, possibility. So first, the fear has, ensure that you survive from the attack. Second is you're trying to process information based on your understanding about that area. Where is the nearest rescue point, or which is the point where you have an advantage. You can climb a wall, or you can do something which helps you to escape. By thinking, you are enhancing your chances of survival. Okay, so that is a response of emotion, and that is the response of thinking. Now, if we did not have fear, and we were still standing there, and we were trying to figure out which is the best route, we would easily become a meal to the tiger. Or if we were afraid but not thinking, if we were not applying thought, what would have happened? We would stupidly run around, and we may choose the worst option also, and we may not even survive. So, emotion and, thinking, both are inseparable, both are important. And, you cannot choose only one. You should always maintain a balance between both. Now,
Okay, so when if we have to choose any, so we can't choose the thoughts or emotion. So the best way is the
to
maintaining
keep
a
a balance between both.
balance in between,
Yeah.
and that's the
See,
best way. And I think that is clearly one can understand from the example
yes,
that you have to think also and have to feel your emotions. Otherwise, you
yes.
will not take the right action.
Yes.
Great.
See, even,
So
if that is an extreme example that I have given. Even in day-to-day life, let's assume we decide to think only, we decide that we will not pursue emotions. That makes life absolutely tasteless. Okay, because it is for happiness, it is for joy that we do whatever we do. If we are not able to experience the emotions of joy or happiness or satisfaction, whatever, okay, what is the point in living? Life becomes very bland, right? And if
So,
we, in life we
are we
face
saying,
many.
so Suresh, are we saying that to enjoy the life at its fullest, one need to
Yes,
be emotionally intelligent, and this
yes,
can be done by taking a balancing approach with respect to your thoughts and emotions.
yes. Even in the question, even in the sentence that you have used currently, you said, in order to enjoy life to the fullest. Enjoy itself is an emotion, right? Enjoying something itself is an emotion. So it is always enjoyment, etc., that we pursue. No
Right.
one wants to, think as their life goal. They want to
Right.
enjoy life. But that doesn't mean
But
that if we just, pursue
actually,
emotions
most of the
blindly.
time we miss the enjoyment part, and
Yeah.
we what I'm saying is, most of the time we miss this enjoyment part or the other
Yeah.
aspects of life, which is the sole purpose. But we
Yes.
focus more on the transactional aspect.
Correct.
Okay. So I have one more query here that is also linked with this the balancing approach. So
Yeah.
I have seen many times what happens. We
Uh,
we are struggling with making us new or creating challenges around us, and that ultimately leads to it depression or the stress or some sort of other fact which is not helping us to move further. So now the point is it any, we can say yes, there is a possibility if I will
Vivek, you're not audible
take
actually.
care of my at the right time, I can able.
Vivek, you're not audible.
Hello.
Yeah, now you are audible. We lost you for a brief period.
Okay. So you didn't.
No, no,
Okay.
no.
I will repeat my question. So
Sure, sure.
my question is okay. Am I audible?
Yeah, now you're fine. Now it's fine.
Hello. Am I audible, Suresh?
Yes, Vivek, you're audible.
Okay. So my question is how I can recognize my bad emotions and feelings at an early stage. Is there any way which I can use and help me to overcome the negativity around me?
Okay. See, firstly, according to me, there's nothing called a bad emotion. Okay.
Okay.
We are blessed with various different emotions, by nature as a part of our survival in order to survive and in order to move forward. Now, why we call some emotions as bad emotions? Say, for example, we call envy, we call jealousy, anger, fear, etc. We call bad emotions. But every emotion has a purpose. The emotion in itself is not bad. What we do as a result of experiencing that emotion can be good or bad, or rather, it can be constructive or destructive. For example, let me take an example. Say, one of my friends is doing well in his life and he has grown to a much more superior position compared to me in career. So what is the natural response? Quite often the natural response is to feel envy. Okay, and that is a natural response. I have not chosen to become envious. That is a natural response that I get as human being, because we are programmed that way. Now once I feel envy, what do? I have two options according to me. One option is to cause harm to him, to pull him down. Another option is I say this guy has reached that particular position. Now let me reach a position which is better than that. How do I reach that position? I figure out, I lay a path and I work on that path. Okay. So I have two choices.
Yes. Yes.
Choice one, I would say, is negative and destructive. Choice two, as a result of envy, I'm doing something constructive. Envy is an energy. Like I said, emotions are energy. So that emotion of envy can power me to lay my path and get into a much more better position than him. That motivates me to get better. So is envy bad? Envy in itself is not bad. What I'm doing as a result of envy can be good or bad. Similarly, anger. It is important to get angry, for some at a wrong reason. If someone is doing something wrong, if you don't get angry, you don't feel agitated, then there's something wrong with you. Now, how do you handle your anger is what matters. For example, one example that comes to my mind in such questions is Mahatma Gandhi. According to me, is a very high a person with high emotional intelligence. He understood that, say, for example, if he does a hunger strike, Okay, or if he does a Dandi march, that the emotions of people will rise, they'll get united, and that will help. That energy and that unity will help to put the British on a backseat. So there are many examples during the freedom struggle and during his using this particular point, he triggered or he stimulated the emotions in the entire nation and used it for positive reasons. And then we have other examples, for example, a person gets angry, a person gets envy or jealous, they do something wrong and they land in jail also. The people who land in jail predominantly are people, not all, but predominantly are people who have succumbed to those, wrong emotions and done something wrong without reasoning what could be the consequences. So all I'm saying is emotions are not, there's no specifically bad emotion or a good emotion. What we choose to do as a result of that emotion can be good or bad. This particular point is so important that, for example, what happens is many of us, even when we feel envy, we do not admit it because we think if I'm feeling envy, I'm a bad person. And we don't want to identify ourselves to be a bad person. So we say, I'm not feeling envy, we deny it and we live in denial. If we admit that we are in envy, then we will be able to handle it better. So it is very important to understand that our emotions are not in totality us. Emotions are just natural responses. They are the software that is fed into us, as human beings by default, and we have to handle them. So that's what I'm saying. So bad emotions are nothing. It is important to identify the emotion appropriately, exactly, and then respond. Choose to respond, whichever is the best way to respond at that particular point of time.
Right. I think what you said is right. So if many times what happens, we get confused. What
Yeah.
I'm doing is right, or what I'm feeling is right. We go into the mode of right or wrong, and we are not able to recognize our feelings and emotions. And if we recognize, sometimes we recognize it in a bad, in terms of bad emotions.
Yeah, we deny,
So
we think that envy is bad, we think jealousy is bad, we think this is bad, that is bad,
right,
and then we refuse to accept it. Once we accept and then handle it, we'll do better.
exactly. So one more link question which is coming into my mind. That
Yeah.
is, I have seen people around, someone around. I saw someone around me, and he's having a, or she's having a feeling which I feel okay. It's like, for example, someone is having a feeling of envy around me. So, is there any way? How should I handle this kind of a feeling when other person is having for me?
Okay. See, again, the fact that you spotted the envy towards you in other person means that you are aware of it. That means you have you're good in stage 3, okay, which is identifying emotions in others. Now, once you have identified, you should observe that person, what kind of responses that person is taking. Is that person handling that envy in a positive manner and building himself or herself up, or is he or she trying to harm you? Okay. So if that person is trying to harm you, then maybe you can have a discussion with that person and explain things, or you can try to move away or reduce interacting with that person. Depending on the situation, you can choose any of these responses.
Okay. Okay, I think that's a good way to deal something which I am able to recognize with people
Yeah,
around
because
me.
the good point here that you pointed out is you have spotted that the other person has envy towards you, and hence you have the ability to choose what you want to do. You can safeguard yourself. If you have not spotted it, then you will know it only after something bad has happened to you.
Right. So so again, at the same time, now we talked about ourselves. We are able to recognize the emotions. We are able to recognize emotions with people around us.
Yeah.
Now I'm going taking a next step in the organization, from the
Yeah.
organization perspective. When we work in an organization, so how can we improve emotional intelligence in an organization? I can connect with number of instances where we have seen uh, people all across the organization, uh, and there are some of the challenges which we are seeing day in day out. So how we can work on this in the organization setup?
See, whether it is, in an organization, you have a group of individuals, right? An
Right.
organization is nothing but a group of individuals. So there are X
Absolutely.
number of people, but every person is one unit or one
Right.
person. So if you want each of these persons to become emotionally intelligent, then what can happen is, one is to create awareness about the concept of emotional intelligence, how it helps, and why it is important to handle your emotions in a constructive manner. If you create that awareness, okay, that itself takes care of your ability to handle emotions to a certain extent. It improves your ability to a certain
Right.
extent, the awareness itself. After that, like any other competency, emotional intelligence also can be improved through practice.
Right.
For example, if you say that every time I get emotional, I will notice it, I will analyze what kind of emotions I felt, why, and what I'm choosing as a result of that emotion. If you start practicing that, then over a period of time, definitely your emotional intelligence will improve. Now, facilitating this at an organizational level, you can build programs. Okay, there are various programs that you can build. Second is, recognizing people for their behavior. In many organizations, if you see, recognition programs are made to recognize achievements, okay, individual achievements or something special that is done. But if you start recognizing behavior also, if you start appreciating a certain kind of behavior, in a very heated up situation, someone has, behaved in an exemplary manner, has showed excellent emotional intelligence. Then if you start recognizing those people, then others would want to, emulate those people and start becoming better. That's
Right.
another way. Three is
Right.
you can create stationery, journals, where, for example, one thing with emotional intelligence is we get intelligent over a period of time. For example, if I ask you 1 year back, if I ask you to analyze an emotional incident that you were involved in, you will be able to accurately analyze it. When you are in the middle of that emotion, you find it difficult to analyze it, right?
Absolutely.
So if we keep writing, the emotional instances in a diary, and after a month, if you read that diary and you try, you analyze the trends of your behavior in various situations, then what happens is you will understand yourself better. Okay, the trends of your behavior, the trends of your emotions better, and obviously you will improve. So these are some of the
Right.
ways you can improve. But the awareness of the concept of emotional intelligence itself is not very wide. So training people on that also helps to a large extent. That's what I believe.
Great. Yes, I can connect it very well, because whenever we are into the into the feelings, or the we are uh, feeling the emotions, it is very difficult to recognize that, and only possible when we are just accepting and coming out of it, and then reflecting on it. Then we can see, yes, this is what I'm feeling, and then you can channelize your energy, the point which you mentioned before. Then maybe you can handle it, manage it in a much better way, as compared to if you are into indulging into it and you are not aware how to use it, and it can go in an uncontrolled manner. That makes sense.
Very
So
true.
now second point is in this pandemic of corona, this is the latest example. We can touch base on it.
Yeah.
So when we see, because in the last 6 months we have seen families in the house, everyone is in the home, they are engaging in one or other activity, and there are situations when we are touching our emotions or feeling. So, and as an adult or as a child, do you see both are able to handle it in the same way, or it is it is difficult for the adult or for a child to handle the emotions, particularly in the challenging time?
Yeah. See, the pandemic, I would say, in a sense, has united human race.
Right.
Okay. And it has caused fear and insecurity across the board uniformly. So most
Right.
or almost all of us, the emotions that we experience are fear and insecurity predominantly, because we don't know,
Right.
what happens if I catch the infection? Am I going to survive? That's one fear. The other
Right.
fear is, what happens to my livelihood? If I'm doing business, what happens to my business? If I'm doing a job, would I be able to keep my job? So these are the fears and insecurities. Added to that, I'm confined in the house and I'm not able to move out. So that causes further frustration. Now, an emotionally intelligent person would also experience the same emotions. There's no difference. But the
Right.
person realize what he is undergoing and then work around it, and try to find ways to handle this situation. For example, if I am feeling this, what I can do is I can connect with my friends with whom I'm not connecting, and this is what many people have done. Okay, so if I connect with my childhood friend after a long time, it certainly diverts me from this pain and agony. Number two, there are some hobbies. All of us always complain about time. We say we don't have time to pursue something that we like. So this is a time that can be used to pursue those habits. Say, for example, painting. Someone likes singing. Someone likes something else. Someone likes playing a guitar or something. And we are living in a time where we can learn anything online. We can pursue any hobby through the help of online, right? YouTube, etc. So an emotional intelligent person would search for avenues to alleviate his fear by pursuing something that he finds pleasure in.
Right. Right.
Okay.
That's I think that's a good way. You have connected uh, this whole situation, uh, and the response is in that particular situation, considering the challenging time or the difficult situation that we are facing, and the different ways people adopt it based on the
Yes.
experience and based on the what we have seen during this particular time. So now one more question which is coming to my mind at this point of time: is it possible to uh, possible to reduce the chances of any tragedy which might happen because of this one particular situation or time? So what do you think? This emotional intelligent person can reduce the chances of be to be becoming a part of any tragedy or the incident.
So, what I understand from your question is you're saying, say, is an emotional intelligent person less likely to say commit something like a suicide or something like a murder or something?
Yes,
Is that the
exactly,
question?
exactly. Right, right, right.
See, generally, no person who's happy, okay, who's doing well, all of a sudden commit suicide. In most cases, suicides happen for reasons which have built up over a period of time. Okay, say you lost something that you love, or you went into depression, or you're in severe debts or something, and the debt is not the problem. Your fear that you cannot handle that situation is what causes, say, something like a suicide. Okay, so now what happens is, if I'm able to, in a timely manner, identify the emotions that I'm undergoing. Say if I'm slipping into depression, okay,
Right.
what happens is, depression is something that, a state of sadness without a good reason, okay, and which is not in my control.
Right.
Generally, if I feel sad, there would be a reason why I would feel sad. I can address that reason, okay, or today I'll feel sad. The emotion is something that gets healed by time, over a period of time. So tomorrow I'll be less sad. Day after tomorrow I'll forget and move on. But if I'm in depression, I'll feel, I'll be in that state for prolonged periods of time, and many times for no reason. Now, if I'm feeling like that, then what would I do? I would immediately try to handle and try to help myself to come out of that situation. If I realize that I'm not able to handle it, then I'll go out and ask for help from a specialist.
Right.
Okay. But if I'm not able to identify that I'm, feeling sad for no reason, and if I'm slipping into depression, then what will happen is I'll succumb to that emotion, and I'll gradually, over a period of time, I'm more likely to, do something wrong. The other part is also that if you are emotionally intelligent, you are more likely to spot a person who's depressed. In your inner circle, or if there are people around you, and one of your friends is getting depressed, and you are able to read some wrong signals from that person, then you are going to jump in and help. Right? So emotional intelligence helps you doing something wrong, or also you would be able to help others and prevent them from doing that something that is wrong.
Right. So it looks like if I'm sensitive about myself, I'm sensitive about my emotions, I'm sensitive about my feelings. In the same way, it will help me to be sensitive for others. And if I'm doing that, I'm somewhere it is I'm showing, I'm becoming empathetic. I'm more aware about what is happening to others, and it might help the other person as well as to me to create a more create an environment which will be helpful to grow, helpful to overcome, helpful to support, create a mechanism to support both of the parties, or it can be in the families, or it can be in the organizational setup.
True.
Okay, so I have one more question. Before coming to that question, I would request our participants, if they have any question, please they can ask. They can ask directly to you, and then we will go to our last question of the day. So you can unmute your microphone, and then you can ask. I'm sure you have understood what we are talking today. We are talking about the how to be becoming more emotionally intelligent person, and more sensitive to what is the emotions actually, how we should acknowledge them, and if we are acknowledging them, if we are aware about it, how we can be channelizing that energy in a right direction. That is one aspect of it. Second is, if we are able to acknowledge it in ourselves, then there is more likely that we are able to recognize in other persons also. So that is how it is going to help us in the long run, or throughout the life, making our life more satisfied, more progressive, more in terms of we are getting best out of it or getting most out of it, whatever we are doing, whatever we are going through in the journey. So this is how we till now we talked about it and touch base also with respect to the organizational setup where we are meeting, we are knowing people in a group dynamics, considering the various group dynamics, considering the small group or a bigger group, or it can be a society, it can be a family setup, or it can be you and someone else, or you all alone. So now, so why I summarize this, in the meantime, anyone will come up with this question. So we have Satish, we have Lakshmi, Jyoti, Hirdesh, Anit, Rajiv. Please go ahead. It will be nice to hear your questions.
See, I'm Satish here.
Yeah, please.
I want to understand. Sometimes, the feelings and emotion, is it same or different? Sometimes, I get this confusion to myself. Is it sometimes, talk of emotion, sometimes talk feeling? Is it the same, or is there, what is that, the finer thin line between them?
Yeah, Suresh, please.
They're more or less the same.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, hi Suresh.
Hey, Anit.
Sorry, somebody was speaking.
You please continue.
Okay. So yeah, hi Suresh. My question is how it is closely with the professionalism. Do professionalism having a connect with this emotional intelligence, or because what I believe is in place of reaction, reaction to it is a journey from reaction to respond, means understanding the things.
Yes.
Understanding your feeling and thinking, control on your feeling and thinking, then you're responding. And
Yes.
a professional person is also doing the same thing, if I say. So how you can connect with this, both the things?
Your question is, how does emotional intelligence enhance a person's professionalism? Can I phrase it
Yeah,
that
you
way?
consider it. Yeah.
Okay. See, the way we said, emotional intelligence helps you to choose your response rather than feel compelled to respond based on your emotion. And emotions are spontaneous, okay, and they can be impulsive. Now, what happens as a result of emotional intelligence is, in a workplace, when we are working with multiple people, what happens is inevitably somewhere or the other, you are going to develop discomfort with someone, likes and dislikes as human beings. Okay, we are going to get into situations where we are going to be angry. Sometimes there are failures, etc. Now, if we just react to those things, what happens is the responses or the decisions that we take are going to be based on our emotions rather than based on the outcome that we want. Okay, so the decisions can be wrong. Say, for example, if I am very upset with, a person who's reporting to me, okay, and I'm conducting his performance appraisal on the same day. If I'm not emotionally intelligent, my anger can reflect in the performance appraisal discussion or in the rating, which actually is dependent on the last 1 year's work. But if I'm emotionally intelligent, what I can do is either I'll be able to handle that anger, or I will realize that yes, I'm angry and I'm unable to handle that anger. So let me do it tomorrow instead of today, or let me do it on another day when I'm in a better situation, rather than do it on, based on impulse on that day and mess it up. Similarly, it applies to any other decision. Okay, we can take various decisions. For example, if there's an accounts department and there's an HR department, the HR department had a big conflict on a particular day with accounts, and on that day you're taking a decision, you're more likely to be, your decisions are more likely to be biased or influenced by your emotions rather than, you know, the professional considerations. So if you handle these things well, your emotions well, you are more likely to take, you know, informed and more better professional decisions. And naturally, people are going to be able to see that.
Fine, thank you.
I hope it
Yeah.
answers.
Yes, beautifully.
Thank you.
Right. So,
I think
there
Mr.
is
Rajiv was supposed to ask something. He was trying to ask something? Looks like.
okay, Rajiv, did you?
Yeah, Vivekji. See, first of all, I would like to thank you that you asked a very practical questions, and Mr. Suresh given the very good insight which will help most of the participants. Very practical questions. I have also one question. See, as we discussed across the discussions, and we realized that the emotions are basically spontaneous and creates by the external situations, different external situations, different external environment or happenings. Someone someone feels good emotions on a particular situation, and the same person may feel some negative or destructive emotions. So it's more or less depends on the external situations. Is it possible that beyond the external situations, individual can manage or progress towards the constructive emotions only? If yes, then how? Did you get my question?
I'm trying to kind of rephrase it.
So,
What you're
basically,
saying is,
bas-
sorry.
yeah, basically what Rajiv is trying to ask, that is there any, because of most of the time emotions our emotions are triggered by external factors. And is it any way, is it any way we can use in a construct, we can use those triggers and make our emotions more constructive rather than it is uh, stopping us in our progress to move further.
Yeah.
Firstly, emotions are, yes, initiated. You know, the initiation of a particular incident happens, could happen externally, but emotional response is based on your internal understanding or your internal perception of that external happening.
Right.
There is a happening, you have perceived it in a particular way, I have perceived it in a different way, and then our emotional responses will depend based on our different perceptions. So we can have different emotions to the same incident. Two different people can have two different emotions, right? So now, if my perception was right, if my perception was based on the correct understanding, or it was based more on facts, then my emotional response is going to be more, you know, accurate, and as a result I'm going to be able to give a more accurate response. And same is the case with you know, you. Now, as we discussed, once I have an emotional response, now what I choose to do it with it depends again on, you know, my value system, depends on you know, my confidence levels and various other factors, and my own willpower. So it is possible to take a negative incident as an opportunity, and also, you know, get a positive outcome. Say, for example, you know, in the pandemic, when everyone was scared, someone immediately found out that manufacturing masks could help the society and also could help me make money. Okay.
Right,
So,
right. So
that
same
person has
situation.
brought about a positive outcome from a negative circumstance, I would say.
So it's
see,
all about.
Sorry.
yeah, what I
Rajiv.
understood that it depends on the perspective of someone and what his belief system, how he question his belief system, and how much he is aware on the situation, on the external factors.
True. I
Am
think
I
so.
right?
Yes, yes, yes. I think so.
Yeah. So see, my question further is on the same that how someone can be more aware about his emotions, about his or her emotions. That I think you explained initially that we need to focus on our emotions and behavior. We need to write some journal, and after a month we can analyze that what went, why. That would help. Or in addition to that, you would like to share some tips?
Generally, what I think I tend to believe is a state of mind where you are very calm and you are at peace with yourself is the best state of mind at which you will easily detect what is happening with you. You will be able to understand your emotions and you will be able to control them better. So I'll just give you an example. If I am going on the road on a two-wheeler and a car speeds and cuts me very quickly and I have a narrow escape, okay, I get angry. I want to abuse that person. I want to say even hit that person. But say, let's assume I controlled myself. And then as I'm passing by, in another 100 meters, there's another car that comes and again the same incident repeats. This time I'm more likely to lose my cool. And I'm more likely to, either abuse that person or whatever and get into even a physical combat with that person. What is the difference? Because when the second incident happened, you're already on an elevated level of fury. When the first incident happened, you are at peace. So you are able to handle yourself well. So if you are able to keep yourself at peace, then you will be able to handle your emotions better. And what helps us to keep ourselves at peace? Some of the techniques that we know currently are meditation, yoga, okay, etc. and mindfulness. These are the things that are known techniques for us to bring more peace to ourselves. So I think practicing these things can help us.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
Thank you so much.
I hope you got the answer, Rajiv. But you have taken too much of time. Please don't take this much of time again.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So Rajiv. So how did you feel it when I said that you have taken a lot of time? What is your feeling and emotion?
Yeah. See, one
See,
that
no,
it made me.
no, don't talk here and there. Just express. But how did you feel it? How did you like it or not?
I took in both way. One, considering the program timing, it made me sense completely. Yes, and if naturally I say that it hurted me, definitely. I
Exactly,
don't feel good.
exactly. So yes, so this is the example, Rajiv. This is the example what Suresh shared, that we need to be aware, awareness about our emotions. So you are able to recognize your emotions, right? And when you are able to recognize, now the second thing is how you our perception. And you have used this happened is so fast in your mind that you have channelized it you have taken it positively as well as negatively.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I accepted the timing and the limitations of the program. So that's the factual figure, cause and effect.
Right.
And
Right.
if I didn't feel good, I feel bad. I felt bad just because of I don't have the awareness on my emotions, or I was just laying down the emotions.
Exactly.
Totally.
So yes. So and today's your question has given me some some idea about that what can be the other possible discussion or session in upcoming days, which I will think about. So thank you for this beautiful question when you ask this practical aspect of this, and Suresh shared that some of the techniques. So we will come up with more sessions around this so that awareness is one aspect is awareness, and second is how we can use the tools and techniques to go to the next level. Thanks Rajiv.
Thanks.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay. So Suresh, one last question. One Hirdesh wanted to know: is it good to express emotions or not? Should we express it or not? What is your answer?
Is it good to express emotions or not? I think it is
Yes.
good to express emotions rather than suppress them. But you should be mindful of the consequences of your expression. Okay. Say, for example,
Right.
if you express a particular emotion in a meeting where a lot of people are there. Okay,
Right.
you felt very angry, and
Right.
you expressed your anger left, right, and center. So what can happen is, you can be branded as an emotional person, and it can hurt your prospects. Okay, and for example, when you go home, your child comes running to you. You have a say 3-year or 4-year-old child, and if the child comes running to you, and you feel a lot of joy and love towards that child, you should you should abundantly express that emotion, right? Not
Right.
expressing emotion there is inappropriate actually. So I think
Right.
if we choose to intelligently express our emotions, we'll get better rewards.
And that is what we are talking about when we are saying emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is something we need to have a balancing approach. We need to see how we are perceiving different factors which are influencing our uh, approach, our way of looking it into more closely when it comes to the acknowledging or using it in a appropriate way. Great. Thanks, Suresh. It was a wonderful session. I think I enjoyed personally very much, and hope for same that you also have enjoyed our questions. And all our participants looks like that they were quite energetic in asking questions, and their questions really made me to think through what can be the possible discussions we can bring here in the sessions.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for patiently enduring the session, I would say.
There is a reason for that. I will let you know later on. Okay, thanks. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Have a great evening. Good night.
Thanks everyone. Good night.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, Suresh and Vivek.
Thanks. Thanks, Aniji. Thank you. Bye.